Hello everybody, welcome back to another light novel review. Today I am talking about Aneko Yusagi's volume number 4 of The Rising of the Shield Hero. Now, in the previous volume, Naofumi and company found themselves accused of a new crime, which was the kidnapping, brainwashing, and potential attempted murder of the Princess Melty. Now, our heroes decide at the end of that volume that they really need to try and escape the nation of Melremark to find their way to the Queen, who is out of country on a diplomatic mission, because as it turns out, she is the one that holds all the power in Melremark. The king is only ruling in her stead. And they figure that if they can get to the Queen, that they can prove that, these charges are all false and that Naofumi is safe, and that way they can make sure that Melty is safe as well. This volume is very much of a characters on the run, fighting one battle after another to try and finally find some safe harbor. There's a lot of action. The pacing is really, really decent. That, I would say, in general, has been a strength of this series, is the pacing. I would say that this series, probably more than any of the other series that we have in the official English language market that deal with the whole character pulled out of their reality into a fantasy reality or what have you, that this story is so much more like what you would see in a traditional Japanese RPG video game. It reminds me, as I read this story, so much of these JRPGs that I played on the original Sony console, PlayStation 2, 3, 4. The storyline in terms of the story beats and how there's side missions and how sort of one mission will lead to another, and even this whole concept of having to clean up other people's messes. All of these things are story components that we often will see in JRPGs, and I could see myself actually playing a game that was almost exactly like this. Now, maybe that's going to change your opinion about whether you like this series or not. I don't know, but I guess what I'm saying is that it has a really decent flow, but that tons of different scenarios happen. It isn't like the single book only deals with, I was in this city and this specific event occurred. There's a lot of stuff that goes into these volumes, and in general, that's one of the things that I really enjoy about it, is it's got this always forward momentum and very decent pacing because it doesn't dwell too long on one specific event. The other strength of this series is always, I say it every video, is Naofumi himself, the main character. I really enjoy that he is not like any other protagonist that we have in similar type series. That, unlike a lot of series with, Kirito or a lot of characters in Log Horizon, or even recently ReZero, where we have very vanilla type characters who are granted heroic sort of ideas and tropish type things that don't flesh them out a lot, but sort of make them just a cookie cutter character inserted in a cool storyline. For Naofumi, he is not like that at all. He is angry and he is mistrustful, and there's a good reason why he's all those things that we see in volume number 1, but it makes him a very interesting character. And it means that there's times that he does and says things that I laugh, because not only is it funny, but also because you're like, holy crap, I can't believe this is the main character who's doing this right now, or is approving of this kind of behavior right now. But at the same time, I think to myself, it probably makes him more real, because a lot of people would be very bitter, angry, and everything else were they found in this type of a situation. So it makes the series really entertaining to me. I do enjoy that aspect of it. Now, this volume, I would say, is definitely the completion of an arc. It feels that after this volume, we're going to transition into sort of a different bit of storyline. The waves of destruction are still occurring. We still don't know who the mysterious figure Glass that we met in the last volume is. There's still a lot of questions about how the other nations of this world sort of fit into things. How are they going to treat the heroes, particularly Naofumi? So there's a lot of information we still don't know much about. There's a lot still driving this series forward, but definitely this volume goes a long ways to trying of ending an arc and setting up a sort of new relationship that Naofumi now will have with the other heroes, with the citizens of this world, and so forth. So if you've been a fan of this series from volume number 1, you'll definitely love volume number 4. It has all the same things that we've enjoyed in the previous volumes. If you're a really big fan of JRPGs and the storylines that they have, I would suggest it because, again, to me, unlike a lot of the other series, it is very, very much like being part of that JRPG storyline. So those are my thoughts on volume number 4 of The Rising of the Shield Hero. Next week, I'm going to be reading My Youth Romantic Comedy Is Wrong As I Expected. I believe it's also like the anime was, what was it, My Teen Romance Snafu or something like that, or Oregairu. There's a bunch of different names for this series, but the English official release for the light novel is My Youth Romantic Comedy Is Wrong As I Expected. I'll be reviewing that next week in my video. I hope to see you in that one. If you're new, click on subscribe so you don't miss that video, as well as all my future light novel reviews. You can check out all my previous ones, as well as my manga reviews. There's links at the top. And I don't just read books, I do write them as well. I've got links to that as well. So thanks again for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Until then, bye-bye for now.